What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Wholesaling Analysis, where we go through some real estate properties on the market and we analyze them to see if there's any deals, and also just to get understanding of how to analyze some real estate deals out there if you're trying to just invest for yourself or if you're trying to wholesale as well too. My name is Elton, like Elton John. I am your host for today and all these series. This is episode 48. If you're coming back again, thank you. I really appreciate you coming back to learn a little bit more and being consistent on analyzing, because this is real estate wholesaling. It is a business, and with every business, it has to be consistent so that way you're able to make some revenue and some profit as well too after expenses. So if you happen to be new here, welcome to the series. I hope you stick around to learn about real estate wholesaling if you're trying to get started with real estate wholesaling or just real estate overall whatsoever. The way usually these series go is we walk through a quick presentation regarding about some foundations when it comes to like analyzing, and afterwards we're going to get dive into deep into some actual live analysis. If you happen to have like a market area or an address or any real estate property out there that you wanted to get analyzed, single family or multifamily, by all means, drop the address in the chat and then any other information that you might have, so that way we can check it out. Yeah, afterwards we're gonna head over to like a quick Q&A if you happen to have like any specific questions regarding about the processes of real estate wholesaling or real estate investing overall. And if there's enough people left, we're gonna do a breakout room afterwards to the network. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So when it comes to real estate wholesaling, there are multiple steps into it. Of course, you have to first things first is get some leads. That could be a variety of different leads. After you get those leads, yeah, right away start calling them and see who might be interested on getting their property for sale. Of course, part of the process is asking them what their motivation, aka the X factor, and also find out how much they're asking for the property. Those are two essential things. During the call, it is always best to do the analysis with them. And so that way you can get like let them know like what's actually happening in the area. Because sometimes they can just be ballparking on what the property's worth, or just go through Zillow and saying that Zillow says this. The thing with the process that we're gonna go through is we're gonna walk through what makes how to make your offer, and also estimate like some repairs. And not only what's going to make some your offer understandable, and it could be agreeable or disagreeable with the homeowner. The very first thing that we have to understand is your market or your after repair value. But it says it on the word. It basically means what the property is worth once it gets fully fixed up and it's ready to get flipped to a retail buyer or a first-time home buyer. With this ARV, again, it's basically letting you know how the market is in your area. So the more you know about your area or your market, which we'll walk through afterwards on how to analyze that in just a matter of seconds, with the ARV is basically gonna let us know how much potential there is on this deal, and of course, if the seller's interested on your offer as well too. Because the next thing we have to understand is repairs. But before I jump into repairs, you also have to understand where the process of wholesaling, it's bringing the offer to some end buyers, but it also has to make sense to those end buyers. And when we're bringing those offers to those end buyers, a lot of them are going to be calculating their numbers and doing their due diligence very different from one another. That's because over time they find their own niche, they find what best works for them, they find their formula. Some of them just stick to like the basic stuff at all whatsoever. Some of them just make little changes here and there. But again, overall, they're all going to be doing their numbers very different from one another. So it is essential for you to find out how a lot of your buyers or investors calculate their deals. So that way, whenever you bring them a deal, it has to really make sense for them. Of course, there's always going to be some type of negotiation. And then sometimes they just want to take it right away because it is real estate. So in the long term aspect of it, 15, 30, 40 years, they definitely win, because properties can definitely pick up in value depending on the location as well too. But most, of course, it always picks up in value. So now jumping into repairs, looking into repairs are going to be, I have some average numbers over here that are nationwide. There are some exception with some states, some expensive states out there and cities that are again more populated, a little bit more expensive, like California, very expensive. New York, very expensive. Massachusetts, Washington, Florida in some areas, and a bunch of other cities and states that are very expensive overall. These prices are gonna be getting adjusted. I'll tell you guys in a bit. But the way usually these are going to be is when it comes to repairs, is start listing it down and start looking at what the property actually needs. When we're looking into like light repairs, those light repairs are going to be more on properties that have been rented out or the homeowner has really taken care of the property very well. That it just needs little touches here and there. Those are going to cost between $10 to $20 per square foot. Average repairs, this is when we start getting into the good stuff of actually fixing and flipping. These are going to cost between $25 to $40 per square foot, and we're going to start doing some major project. We're going to do some projects in the major areas. Major areas include bathroom, kitchen, flooring, paint, lights, maybe some doors, maybe some windows, maybe some roof, maybe some appliances, utilities, pa electric panels, uh, water heater, you name it. It's just gonna be extra stuff as well too. That's gonna be the most expensive. The actual walls and paint, that's gonna be the very inexpensive stuff. But the biggest stuff is gonna be again those kitchen, the flooring, pretty much everything else that it's like the major detail stuff that's gonna be a little bit more expensive. Now the last one is gonna be gut job repairs. These gut job repairs are pretty much either two routes. It's either gonna be they're gonna cost between $45 to $60 per square foot, but they're gonna be between getting the property demolished and starting all over again and just leaving the foundation, or um, pretty much just taking down the walls of everything, just leave the property down to like the studs and then start from there. So both ways, you're pretty much just demolishing everything, but one is a complete demolish of taking down the entire home, and the other one is just taking down the walls and then it's ripping everything out and then start from there. And it's sometimes it's gonna come a little bit more costlier. It depends on what other major issues the property has internally from pipes and also maybe some foundational issues as well too. Those are going to be very more costlier or just costlier. Now, as mentioned earlier, if you happen to be like in cities that are very expensive or states that are very expensive, I usually recommend adding $15 to $20 per square foot on those properties, on those type of repairs, on any of these type of repairs, from light repairs to gut job repairs. All right. Next is whenever we're looking into a property, we definitely have to make sure that we're finding matching properties or similar properties, or as we call them, comps. It's we have to look for these comps. We have to stick within certain parameters. We can't just look at any random property. There are specific restrictions that you have to look into to make sure that you're finding that ARV, because the ARV is going to be very different from one another on each single property. Even it's going to be the slightest different, but once you start getting understanding on how your market works, you got to figure out how much it will be for that specific property over time. It will take, I'll say, depending on how fast you do your due diligence, it should literally take less than 5 days for you to find out how a lot of these properties are going for in your area. But looking at these parameters that we have to stick within when we're looking for comparables is first things first is the living space. We want to look at properties plus or minus 300 on the square feet on the living space. Some properties might have a basement. I don't really include the basement at all whatsoever. The basement is just extra storage. It's just or extra space available for the homeowner. But overall, some properties do get their basements fixed up as well too. So again, that's something else that will definitely have to be considered, which part there's ways to go with that. Next is definitely the lot size of the property. Looking into the lot size, well, we only analyze lot sizes whenever we need to compare square footage in terms of the lot or acres of the lot. So if a property is listed as a quarter of an acre, 1 acre, 3, 5, 10, 20 acres, then we have to analyze acres rather than the property itself. But we also have to look on how big the property is as well too. But mainly it's going to be, or what's going to be overtaking it is definitely going to be the acres of the land. Looking into the properties or comps, we want to make sure that we stick within the same neighborhood. There are going to be some major roads or double yellow line roads that are going to be kind of separating or blocking the neighborhoods or splitting up the neighborhoods overall. So if you see like a major road where there's constant flow of traffic from commuters, buses, semi trucks, construction trucks, delivery trucks, you name it, it's just a constant flow of traffic on that road, then that's going to be your separation of neighborhoods. So here's an example of we have one neighborhood on one side and one neighborhood on the other side. So it's just and again that those roads are splitting it up. You are able to pull comps from the other side of the neighborhood from the road, but because you're crossing that major road, you definitely have to do a $10,000 price reduction, or more, or depending on how far you're going as well too, because usually we recommend to stick within a half mile to a 1 mile radius for your comps. The further you start going, then you definitely have to make some price adjustment on that. And then also make sure that you're sticking within the same years of your property. Plus or minus 10 years is usually recommended to it. Don't compare a 2024 home to a 1940s home. Again, regulations, materials, everything's could be very different from one another. So we're trying to bring the 1940s up to 2024 standards. But we can't bring the 2024 home to 1940 standards at all whatsoever. We're not moving backwards. We're moving forwards. Next is looking into the comps. Make sure we gotta find at least 3 to 5 comps. This could be, I put updated. It doesn't have to be really updated. You can look into properties that are like are similar shape as your property, so that way you can get an understanding of how much properties are actually selling for. But it's always good to look at definitely updated because again, that's where you're trying to look for the ARV after repair value. You want to look at properties have sold in the last 6 months, and not only look at properties that have sold, but also look at properties that are pending on a contract. Because properties that have sold is basically telling you what has happened in the past. But how the market is reacting right now with the current rates, with the current sentiment of anything happening or in terms of like real estate overall, it's that's gonna let you know what's actually happening. If people, if there's buyers buying or there's a lot of properties under contract, then that means there's a lot of interest in that area, and you gotta move in quickly if you're trying to invest into like a property there to buy and hold, to fix and flip, or to if you're trying to wholesale. It's just the inventory is definitely gonna be moving there overall. Now, looking into like the net right now, we're going to jump into some live analysis. Like heading over to the live analysis, we are definitely well, me, I always like to like analyze deals beyond just a regular wholesaling. So I like to look, and it takes time for you to learn multiple strategies because again, not all buyers are going to be calculating their offers the same. They're all going to be looking at different things. So what's going to make them the most out of their dollar? And from their perspective, they're going to be looking on what's going to be the easiest route. And so wholesaling, it can definitely be the easiest route for you to make your money, but maybe the investor just doesn't it's not gonna end up doing anything at all to it. So it's that it's basically looking into it in terms of like buying and holding. That's why your deal was able to go quickly. So again, it depends on what strategy is always going to be happening out there, depending on the buyer itself, or even for your own on this seller finance strat as well too. So there are different strategies, and all strategies have their different due diligence, and it's always best to analyze them into multiple strategies so that we can understand like how a lot of your buyers buy in terms of like what strategy they best see fit and they're mainly interested on overall. So with that being said, let's just jump into some a real live analysis. Let's see over here. All right, let's go here. Let me close this down. Awesome. Move that over there. Shut up, beam, shut up, bomb. All right, this is my, yes, it is. All right, cool. So let me share this screen over here because this doesn't want to pop up. Desktop one. Shabam, shabam. Where is my? Oh, there you go. All right, let's check it out. Let's see what city we got. If you happen to have like a city, county, or an address of a property that you want to analyze, by all means, let's drop it in there. Hey, we did California already. We did Riverside just on the last episode. Let's try to do something different. Alexandria, Virginia. Alexandria, Virginia. Let me see. Syracuse. Let's do McAllen, Texas. I haven't done Texas in a while, I believe. All right, let's head over to some Zillow. Zillow and Redfin. And what was it? McAllen? McAllen. It's right over here. McAllen, Texas. All right, let me first thing I like to do is look for the county. McAllen, Texas. McAllen, Texas is in what county? So I like to look at the county just because whenever I look into cities specifically, the city could be really small and it just doesn't really help out. So I always like to look at the county. And again, it opens up the opportunity to look into more deals. So let's head over to Hidalgo County, Texas on both Redfin and Zillow over here. And let's see what deals we're able to find out there. All right, we're not looking for some rental deals. All right, so for laugh and giggles, I don't know. I actually don't know Hidalgo County at all whatsoever. So my first step on my process is, oh, let me put this away here. And there we go. My very first step to do on my analysis is step number one is understand your markets. So again, I was mentioning earlier, part of the process is to look into the ARV, find out what the ARV is in your market. It should take you a couple days for you to understand the square footage, how much properties are selling between 1,000 to like 1,200 or 1,300, from 13 to 16, 16 to 19, 19 to 20, 22 square footage of the homes, how much are all those properties selling for. And again, it should be really easy for you to find out in just a matter of days or maybe just hours, depending on how much time you have as well too. But you have to really understand your market. So step number one is find your market. Step number two, before you start looking into properties out there, is start looking for people. Start getting in touch of every single person that you can think of. Here's going to be like a list of people. There's going to be buyers. There's going to be agents if you want to work with agents, lenders if you happen to want to do like a deal for yourself. If you're looking for title companies, look for other wholesalers as well too, contractors, inspectors, you name it. Start looking for all those people, start building relationships in your market area. So that way, whenever you're in need of somebody, you have somebody as well too. And not just one person. Of course, look for like 3 to 5 people from there. And eventually, the more deals you start doing, it's going to be you're going to have stronger relationships and you're going to be able to network with other people as well too. Now, step number three is the most important of them all, because step number three is looking for those properties. So for right now, for this a purpose of analysis, I'm only going to be doing step number one and step number three. I'm not going to be looking for people over here because I'm not trying to jump into this market area. I already have my market areas overall. So I'm just trying to do step number one and step number three, analyzing my markets, which it takes literally seconds. And then step number three is jump into like properties at all. Now, because I'm not looking to close on any of these deals for my own, I'm just trying to show you guys an example of how to analyze a lot of these deals. Is whenever, if you find like a property or a deal out here in, what was it? Hidalgo County. Hidalgo County, I'm not going to be looking to, before we actually jump into the analysis, usually the analysis is step number four. But step number three is very important, because the minute you have a property or you have like a seller that you have to reach out to, it is always best to just get in touch with the agent or with the seller or whoever is part of that property. Get in touch with them. I was mentioning earlier, the very first step on the analysis of getting the steps of real estate wholesaling is locate properties to buy, and then right away contact the buyers. Don't, it's not even analysis. The analysis comes afterwards, determine like the value, all that, but you have to contact the homeowner or the buyer right away for you to find their X factor, or AKA why they want to sell the property, and then two, how much do they want for the property. Without that, if you're skipping that step of contacting the homeowner or the agent, whoever it is that has access, has that information to that property, or wholesaler as well too, or bird dogs. Bird dogs should just look for properties for you. If you're skipping that step and just jumping into the analysis, you're wasting your time. It is, because you don't know if that seller is interested. So you analyze the property for 20, 30 minutes, maybe it takes you an hour if you're starting as in terms of like wholesaling. But if you're estimating, finding where your numbers should be at, but you find out that the seller wants more than what your numbers are aligned, then you just waste all this time. overall or whatsoever. So if they're, or maybe they're just not really motivated at all to sell like their home. They're just, it's not right now. It's not the time. Maybe down the line. All right, how far down the line? 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? Like how far down the line we're talking about? So it's always best to just get in touch with whoever it is they need to get in touch with that owns that property, and then just get those X factors, aka why they want to sell and how much do they want for their property. Because without that, the analysis is just a waste of time. So just giving you guys a little insight. But what I'm going to be doing right now is going through the analysis of the market. So step number one is analyzing my market. I don't know Hidalgo, Texas. There's a great amount of properties out here in Hidalgo County. Um, but the thing is, with Hidalgo County, we have 4,000 properties. That's a lot. But what I'm going to be doing is, oh, actually, let me reset all these filters. There we go. So we have 4,600. Wow, even worse. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be scrolling down past all these properties because Zillow and Redfin, they do the homework for me. They're going to be doing, where's that? Where's that? Oh, let me restart all over this. Hidalgo County. Here we go. I'm going to be scrolling past all these properties because Zillow and Redfin, they do the homework for me on determining what the value is for all these properties. Because remember, Zillow is a broker. They have their own agents. Redfin is also a broker. They have their own agents as well too. So they have access to the MLS and they provide a great amount of details on a lot of these properties and cities, zip codes, if you want to get down to like the zip codes, maybe in specific areas. But right over here, nearby Hidalgo County City Homes. Right over here, this is the homework that Zillow already did for you. They're telling you how much potentially, aka the ARV, of all the cities inside of Hidalgo County are worth. So with that, what this is doing is basically this is collecting the data. Zillow is collecting the data both of ugly properties and fully fixed up and new construction homes, and it's mixing both of those together, and it's telling you what the average property is of those two mixed together. Now, whenever you come across a property, is all you have to do is confirm, can the property in Donna Homes or Donna Homes city, if they're selling for how much? $140,000. Can my property that I'm looking right now, can it sell for $140,000? Depending on how much repairs it needs, can it sell for that much? Can it sell for more? Is it going to sell for less, or is it going to sell at that exact price point? So this is your potential ARV that I'm talking about. And what you're going to do with this, I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to do pay special, values only, and then bam. And then let me change this to Hidalgo County, Texas. This is Riverside, California. Awesome. That was the last episode that we did. So now that I have a spectrum of how much properties are selling for, especially in the whole county, depending on my strategy, if I'm trying to look for fix and flip properties for fix and flip investors, then I'm gonna stick to the 70% rule. If I'm looking for investors that are trying to buy and hold a lot of these properties, then what's gonna happen right here on the potential offer side, those numbers are gonna be changing. And what those numbers basically mean is I got to look for properties worth less than this potential offer. So if properties in Edinburgh are selling for 207, I got to look for properties that are selling for less than 145. But again, I was looking into the whole county. So if I scroll down, I have the whole county prices or numbers right here at the bottom section. So the whole county average price point is 165. So I got to look for properties $115,000 or less, or I can call it 116. So first things first is I'm gonna make some price adjustments. Bam, that's the very first thing I want to do. And then we went from 4,600 properties down to 955. Now let me change this. I only want to look at single family homes. And now I have 83 results just by doing that. Now, from my experience, I've noticed that a lot of properties that are 1,000 square feet and higher usually sell, but there are some areas that where 700, 800, 900 properties sell a lot quicker. So it depends on what actually sells like in the area, overall whatsoever. And if you do same thing with Redfin, same thing, popped up 4,500 results. If I scroll down right over here, cities, or show more right here at the bottom section, and bam, same thing over here. It's gonna tell me some different numbers. And here's the thing, both Redfin and Zillow are gonna give you different numbers because they're gonna have access to different types of data. Maybe Zillow has been out longer, so they're gonna have access to more detailed data because they over time they make some adjustments on their how to collect like their data and whatnot. And Zillow, it's a little bit more newer, so it's just their numbers are going to be very different. But there, so pay attention to how much homes are selling for. So what was it, Donna? Selling for 229 on Redfin, and then on Zillow, it was saying that it sells for $140,000. So that's a huge difference right there. So which one is going to be more correct? So that's why whenever we look at a property, we have to analyze how much can a property sell for. So this is just giving us like a small insight. It's just that's why we have to do our due diligence and find out can the property sell for X amount. So then now that I said those filters looking for fixing and flipping properties, now let me look for those fixing and flipping properties. I'm gonna go with the lowest. So let's go with low to high, and let's see how much some of these are going for. And hopefully some of these are not mobile homes because I definitely want to stay away from these mobile homes because that's what I'm seeing right over here. Mobile homes, mobile homes. I'm looking for like a home that was built right on the ground. This one, 928 square feet. Okay, nothing too bad. Let's start looking at pictures if they have any. So no pictures on this one. 2001. Yeah. See, this is what I like to do. Properties are at least 1,000 square feet, so I can see what's good out here. Okay, 49 days. This was not bad. Hopefully it has enough pictures. La Villa, Texas. All right, let's see what we have over here. Okay, some high quality HD pictures. All right. We have a huge hole. What is that? Is that like the laundry area? Okay, we definitely have a good amount of project to do internally and externally. Oh, that's it. Um, so definitely got to do the outsiding roof. The roof looks a little old already. What year is this? 1998 home? 1965. Okay, so definitely got to do some great investment opportunities sitting in corner lots. I definitely like corner lots because corner lots you can start doing some things though. The thing with corner lots, it just depends on what the city allows. You can do some what I'm going to be doing now is look through Street Viewer because I don't want to be the first investor. And oh, there you go. There's an investor right there. I can tell by the color of it. Okay, that's some good signs. That's some good signs. But I'm looking to see like how the area is like laid out, not just that how the area is laid out as well too. I'm looking to see if there's any other properties that have been like getting fixed up as well too. Of they're like really getting taken care of. So try to get an understanding of like the neighborhood overall. Because again, if I gotta look for comps, I gotta stick within the same neighborhood. And if the neighborhood is not doing really good, or it's just here we go, new construction home. That's really good. Somebody's willing to take that risk at all. This one too looks really good. So there's good opportunity over here just by looking at the neighborhood overall. So let's dive into this one and see what we're able to find out in terms of like the numbers. So again, if this was my market area and I needed to reach out to the agent directly because it is listed on the market, that's something I gotta find out. Now the thing is, what city is it on? La Villa, Texas. Do we have La Villa, Texas in our list over here? No, we do not. All right. So now, whenever you don't have the city that you're looking into, apart from that list, all you have to do is head over. You have to reset the filters for whatever reason. And then head over to La Villa, Texas. All right, over here, type in your city, scroll down past all the properties, and right over here, uh, oh, so they don't have that. They don't actually have it's not a big of a city for us to get like a number of it. So, Man, what's the closest city to it? Green Valley, Sherman Oaks, La Floresta, La Villa's 287? That's weird. 287. I can kind of see it, but I'm just trying to see what this one, Edcock. It's not even here at all whatsoever. So I'm trying to find the value of it, but okay. It's not gonna pop up right now. But let's go through what the property needs. Let me pull this up. So based on the pictures, the property definitely needs a new roof. Definitely gonna need windows, flooring, walls. Let me go back and see one more time. What else? It pretty much needs the entire yards actually. Doors, remove that ramp as well too. Siding, painting, kitchen, bathrooms, uh, kitchen, bathroom, paint. So this is getting close. Probably HVAC as well too. What else? What else? What else do we need over here? Probably electrical because it's a 1965's home, so I don't know how old that electrical panel is. You probably have to do some electrical, so no major like takedowns. We don't have to like demolish anything. Probably have to do some of the walls, but that's pretty much it. But we have to definitely bring it down to like the studs, especially if we're gonna do some electrical stuff. And the majority of it is just, again, the most expensive stuff is gonna be bringing in the appliances and all that expensive stuff. So, with that, I'm gonna say this could be like a gotcha property, honestly. Bring that here. What's going on? What's going on? What is going on with this thing? All right, here we go. So I'm gonna say this is definitely like a full gotcha property. How much are they asking? 50,000 dollars. Oh, it's already there. Square footage is 1357. Awesome. There's no basements in Texas, or is there a basement on this? 'Cause I don't know if there's some tornadoes over here. Basement, parking, exterior, chain link, single, frame wood, other, foundation, other. Um, foundation, other, but no basement. Okay, cool. All right. Now let me bring down calculator over here. So 1357. We were to pay the closing costs. And I'm trying to fix and flip this deal. If I'm trying to wholesale, then the number's gonna change a little bit. Probably like 32,000 is what I need to bring over. But I need to find out what my ARV is. Again, if I'm trying to fix and flip this deal. And based on what the property needs, again, look, going back to the repairs for this, I'm definitely pushing it towards like gut job, especially being 1,300 square feet home. And so I'm gonna head over to like $45 per square foot, for sure. 63. Oh, 60. There's no basement. $61,000 in Texas. It should be fine. I'll push it into like 65. Yeah, that's fine. I'll push it a little bit by 65 just because I know there's gonna be some extras. If I want to make 20% on this profit, again, I'm the fix and flipper, so I'm the investor on this. So I'm trying to analyze it on my spectrum. I need to sell this property for $144,000. We don't have an exact number of how much the property can potentially go for in this area. Um, but right over here on the neighborhood, um, we are able to get a quick spectrum of how much properties are going for. Um, so let's head over back to the lot lines and let me see over here. So 90s, 154, 200. It's a bigger lot. 187, 118, 105. Okay, so we are definitely over the $100,000 price point because these are 90s. This is a double big corner. What about these ones? 150. I can definitely say that we can definitely head over to like that 150 price point, maybe 130, just by seeing like what's going on over here on some of these properties. So a lot of them are definitely over $100,000. So that's a good sign. If everything was like less than that, then that's going to be a worrisome. Um, but we have a good opportunity. I remember we were seeing some new construction in some of these. I don't know where exactly it was happening at, but there was new construction happening as well too. So now let's look for some properties. Let's look, where's our subject property right over here. So let's take away the maximum because now we're looking for some comps. I want to stick within the same square footage. So our subject property is 1367, 1357, plus or minus 300,000, and then plus 300, there's no 16. So I'm gonna have to go up to like 1700 on that square footage. Okay. 1286. It is crossing the highway, so I gotta stick within like this side of the highway. If I want to cross the highway, I definitely have to do like a major price reduction. But the thing is, this could be a whole this looks like a whole different neighborhood. I mean, I don't know if I'm not sure if there's like a no, there's no HOA. But just by doing like Street Viewer again, whenever you do a Street Viewer, you get a sense of how the neighborhood is. Like, look at this neighborhood compared to where our property is. It's a whole different thing at all whatsoever. Over here is more deserted, more just like land base, more ranch style as well too. This one's pushing it, so nothing there. The other thing I want to look for and see if there's any other properties that are pending or under contract. And right here we have this one that is pending under contract, but again, just look, the neighborhoods are completely 180 from one another. So it's just that's why this is selling because it's just the neighborhood overall. So, but this is the stuff that we have to do to like our subject property, but there's nothing under contract, nothing else under contract in our area. So the only thing that we have to hope for is to look for properties that have sold at least in the last 6 months. Um, and by looking at this, just how very little there is, there's just not a lot of activity at all whatsoever. In our neighborhood, there's not a lot of activity. There's more activity right over here on this freaking neighborhood, right over here, than anything in our section. So sometimes, as much as how you want to push for like a deal, there's just not gonna be like a deal going on. The only thing that I can do is I can use a different resource like PropWire. PropWire is like a free source to that you can look for some property data overall. Let me see if I'm able to get some comps out of that one. Because again, each single platform, Zillow, Redfin, PropWire, PropStream, whatever platform you're using to like analyze some of these deals, they're all going to give you a different set of information. So it's going to be very, very challenging. Um, to always like get a spot on. But even over here, one property sold for $47,000 in January. And that's where the price point is. But the square footage is only 336. So that's that's not really going to be helping at all whatsoever. Even if I expand like the radius, again, I'm heading over towards this side of the neighborhood, and we notice that the neighborhoods are completely 180 from one another. So it's just not going to be working at all. So no matter how, if you have like a good deal or you think it's a good deal and but the comps are just not there at all whatsoever, the I'm not going to be pushing the down the throat to the seller like, oh, let me buy this property at half of the price. And it's because there's just no data at all whatsoever. This is the information that investors are going to be looking for. They're going to be looking like, well, how much can it potentially sell for? How much can it actually sell for? And if there's no comps in the area, there's more comps in a whole different neighborhood, then it's always best to look in a whole different neighborhood or whatsoever. And something I like to do whenever looking into like properties. And what I'm seeing, if you ever come across this from Zillow or any other platform, if you see like these dash, it basically means it's a non-disclosure state. and or non-disclosure county, or it could be the state as well too. And what it means is basically the when a property sells, they don't disclose how much the property sells. You have to go through the records to see how much the property can sell for. Even PropWire sometimes it will tell you. Like I said, other platforms will tell you, but you have to do a bigger research on you have to do a bigger research on what's actually selling overall. But it's just nothing in selling over here. So something that I like to do whenever I'm looking into properties, especially in like rural areas, like right over here, yeah, from this part of Texas or the county of Texas, is I like to head over to what has sold. I like to remove the boundaries and let me see what has sold in the last 6 months. And what I'm looking for here, and these are just single families. I'm looking for the where are the most dots located at. So if I'm looking at properties over here, I'm only seeing one freaking dot. While over here in this entire section, I'm seeing a bunch of dots. So would I want to look for properties on this area, or do I want to look for properties on some of this area? And I can draw it out as well too by splitting it up. So the freeway is like my split point. So let me see how many properties have sold on this area right over here. Let's apply it. In the last 6 months, there have been 815 properties sold in just that small area. How about this side of the neighborhood? This side of the freeway, I mean. How about all this? How many properties have sold on this side of the freeway? 342. So I'm gonna head over to this side instead to look for some properties and see what kind of deals I'm able to find on the side of 69C freeway. So let me head back to for sale properties. Our price point was $116,000, and Zillow decides to be really slow right now. So maybe I can head over just through over here on Redfin. Let me set my price point as well through here, 116. You know what? I'm gonna go with 120. Just I don't like weird numbers like that. $120,000. Let me look for some houses as well too. Ben, again, I'm gonna stick to this side of the freeway because this is where the most activity is happening overall. Come on, Zillow. Don't mess me up right now. I like to look into Zillow just because it gives me more details, but all right, so that's taking forever. And what I can do too is I can draw like a line with Redfin. Let me go through the freeway right over here. Shabam, cut all this and go through this other freeway, Highway 2. All right. It's not perfect, but it's gonna do. All right, there we go. So I got 24 properties. 24 properties. Let's look from the lowest price to the high. Sorry, scared the hell out of me. Um, all right, staying away from mobile homes. What do we have here? 1843 home. That's a little bit big. Again, usually properties that sell the quickest and the most is properties between 1,000 to like 1,400. So let me look for that right over here. Oh, this one looks good. Where is this? Oh, far out. Okay. This one, 728. It's a little bit small. This one's more in the rural area right over here. $90,000. Okay. Oh, that's pretty nice. This could be a good rental. $90,000 for a good rental. I can do the analysis in the rental if you guys want. Let's see. Uh, honestly, yeah, that could be honestly a good rental. I'm seeing 600. Did I not set my filter of 1,000? I think I did not. How many properties? 14 properties. All right, that's a little bit better. This is right in the middle. Let's check out this one. This one looks a little bit interesting just because of the where is it located? There's more there's more trees and more life over here. It looks like that's an end road right there. So I think now I see probably why a lot of people like this side of the freeway or the highway. It's just there's more trees, more life happening. But I'm looking for other investors in the area, any other fix and flip deals that might have happened here. New construction happening. No, no new construction. What is this? What is this? No. Some of these homes are just not getting taken care of at all whatsoever. And not only am doing this, but I'm also doing driving for dollars. Because if I see like another crappy, I mean, there's a bunch of them. This one looks a little bit abandoned. Oh, and they have the numbers. Is it like California? Oh no, it's just that one. Oh, it is like California. They have the numbers on the street. So if you can't ever see like the number of the home, just look down. Oh, we have this one. This looks probably 2016 type of home. That's about it. I don't see anything else though, but let's see what we can make out of it. There's not a lot of pictures. There's only external pictures, and the external pictures tell me that half of the roof needs to get changed up. Maybe the whole thing. We got to do some external paint as well too. And internally there, let's see what details we're able to get. Central restaurants, ready access. It's been on shed will convey with sale of property. Shed will not convey with sale of property. Okay, that's fine. Take the shed. 90 days on the market. That's pretty good. It depends on how good properties are going for, but let's check it out. So this is through Redfin. Let me duplicate this, head back to my market area and figure out where was this located at. 70. Oh, right over here. Okay. Let me remove that filter of how much prices are going for. My square footage of this property is 1285. So 1285 plus or minus 300. So 1,000. I'm gonna stick it with 1,000, and then all the way up to let's go with 1,600. And let's make sure that we're looking for houses. Why is it showing 2 units over here? Is that new construction happening? If there's new construction happening right behind it, that's good news. Let me go back. Let me drop this guy right over here. Let me see what's happening. Oh, dude. Is that what's really happening? Hold on, let me look at this. Sorry, I just got cut off guard because of this. What? There's new construction happening, but then there's this ugly thing right over here. So what's up? What's up with this? Sorry, no street viewer. Damn, that's a good sign. What year is this? 2020. That's a 2023 built? Ooh, yeah, I don't know why they did so many colors. But hey, that's good news. So we're in a good, thriving neighborhood. I mean, it worked. This worked well for the developer, but I mean, we got some opportunity over here. So let's go back to our subject property. 1285. Let's look for properties that are on the contract. I don't want to see anything coming soon. Actually, let's stick with coming soon. And also, I must look for what am I looking for? What am I looking for? Sold. Oh, I'm not looking at sold just yet. I'm sorry. What do we have over here? 1305, 229. Okay, two pictures. At least I know, but I got a feeling this is a 2023 brand new built home. So I can't compare 2023 to a 1982. I gotta look for at least 1990s home. So nothing 2023, nothing 2024. I have to stick within the same years of my subject property. What do we have over here? 205, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2010. Damn. So I think a lot of these are going to be newer construction homes, 2002. So I might have to analyze this as a, I can pull all these as comps, but that's the thing is there's no, this is going to be a whole different neighborhood, probably with an HOA in place. 486 days on the market. Jeez. It's just not selling, or what's going on over here? And you tell me that there's no deals on the market? This could be a great creative finance deal right over here. If it's been sitting for 486 days, that's a creative finance deal. That's a seller finance deal. If they're still, it looks like they're still living the property. Yeah, you see what's messing it up? Ah, man, there's a lot of new construction happening over here in this area. The I think there's more. That's why a lot of these properties are sitting, because this is what developers are doing. They're just finding vacant land, buying that vacant land, construction, doing new construction homes on those properties. But a lot of them are freaking just sitting here. And the properties that are like in this shape, just like mediocre, just like need like minimal touches, are gonna be the ones that are gonna be sitting the most. AKA, here's one right over here. When was this built? 2009. This has been sitting for 486 days. Have they done a price reduction? Maybe, maybe not. They only done one price reduction from 252 to 247. That was in August, and the property's still listed. I got a feeling that the agent is the homeowner. Relative spacious. What? With spacious room closest that can be used for in-laws, relative, or rented out for additional one main roof spent. Boiler. Okay. So yeah, this is bad. This is like good, but it's also bad. So when yeah, it's just when there's a lot of new construction happening, it's making the neighborhood just look bad overall, honestly. Like anything else that you find, it's like, do you really want that? Why would you want to buy a $230,000 home that doesn't have that it's pretty much done, but it's not really complete, when you can buy like a $269,000 home that it's like way newer? Or why would you want to buy a 2009 home, or 2020, like 2020? So this is something else that we it's not gonna be moving at all whatsoever. I got excited because I thought this was like something that was taken care of, but there's just a lot more newer construction homes happening. So just by seeing that, this all these properties are gonna be best suited for rental properties, in my opinion. Honestly, just because how much activity is happening in terms of like rentals, I mean, in new construction. Um, there you go. It's just gonna be a better suited for rental properties. And how big is our square footage of our property? 1285. Let me put that into like the taking it a perspective on how much the square footage can go for. 12, 1300, 900. All right, 24 rentals. So average should be, oh, 1200. Recommended. Let's go by square feet. 900, 1200, 11, so 13, 13, 1286, 1600, so 1400. But then look, this is what we have to do to our property. 1286, our property is 1285. Definitely gotta update like the bathrooms at all whatsoever. Kitchen, it just has to be minimal work. So we're able to reduce our expenses like on our property. So that way we can make it like a rental property. We don't have to put like LVP flooring. We can just put in tile just so it can stay cool, just how it is in like in the area. Paint the walls, update like the doors, windows. We don't have to do anything too much like on the landscaping at all whatsoever too. Um, so this could be a great subject property to get it rented out. And if we were to get it rented out, if this is going for 1600, like in a whole different neighborhood, we can probably play it safe and go with 1400. Let me go with the Zillow. So this is what I can do. And I'm glad I got this opportunity. I'm gonna head over to Zillow rent estimate, paste in the address, and it's gonna tell me exactly how much my property can get rented out for. With, and that's what I was mentioning, 1400. So it can rent out for 1250 right now at its current condition. And if we're to update it, just do minimal stuff. Like we definitely have to do the roof, and internally we just have to make sure that we have to see what's actually happening inside. But internally, this is the thing that we can push it up to from 1250 to like 14 to like 1500 as well too, just by doing those updates. Simple updates. So now let me just analyze it in terms of like rental. Now we have to make sure that the property can actually rent it out, can be making some cash flow. So can the property cash flow? So $70,000 internally, let's say, what is it, 1285? It's gonna be minimal work, so I'll say I'll push it to like the $20 per square foot. Yeah, we can spend $25,000 on repairs on the property. So let's head over here. They're selling it for $70,000. Yeah, $70,000. We can do 20% down, 7% interest rate. Closing costs, it's could be very low, especially here in Texas, probably like 3%, honestly. Um, and then we're gonna do $25,000 worth of repairs on the property. So our initial investment that we need upfront, um, if we're to do no repairs, it's just $16,100 rented out on the property. The property is a 3 bedroom or 2 bedroom, 1 bath. So let me head over to 2 bedroom, 1 bath section. Right now, if we don't do any updates at all whatsoever, we leave it as is, it's telling us we can rent it out for 1250. Uh, if we could rent it out for 1250, 15 million. Oh, I messed up. Rent it out for 1250. It's gonna bring us in $15,000 of yearly income. Our expenses, I'm out of state, so I'm gonna have a property management in place. It's gonna be 40,000, it's gonna be $6,000, or I can break down my expenses, the taxes, insurance, maintenance, vacancy, as backup just in case, and again the property management. I can break it down to the dollar exactly, but I'm just gonna stick to my 40% rule for right now. So my gross income is 15,000 from the rent, minus my expenses is $9,000. And I still have to subtract my mortgage. My mortgage is $380 per month. That's just principal and interest. But again, my expenses, everything else are part of the expenses thing. So I'm buying this property at a 12.886% cap rate. In the first year, if I don't do any updates or anything, I don't touch the property at all whatsoever, even like updating it. I initially invested $16,000, which is the down payment is the biggest one, and the closing costs. That's going to be the biggest one overall. The property at its current rates of rental, it can bring me in $4,000 in cash flow, or $4,400 in cash flow. So that's bringing me back 20% of my money within the first year. Um, of it. My mortgage for the entire year is $4,000. So the reason I'm cash flowing is 9,000 is because our net income, we subtract the mortgage from that. So 9,000 minus the 4,500 is going to give us that cash flow number. Um, and by the time from the initial money that we put in $16,000. By the time we break even, it's at 43.5%, 43 and a half months for us to break even, which is basically going to be roughly almost 4 years into it. More like 3 years and a half, but um, that's how long it's gonna take us for us to break even. Now the thing is, I'm buying it right now at 12.86% cap rates. So let me put it as close as I can to it. So I'm gonna say like 13%. That puts it at the price point of like $70,000. Of course, I'm not trying to buy the property at yeah, I am trying to buy the property as is, but I still want to negotiate on the property. And the reason I'm able still to negotiate is because the property has been sitting on the market for 90 days. It's been sitting on the market for 90 days. They haven't done a price reduction at all whatsoever. If they do one, it's probably gonna hurt the seller. But I really don't care about that. It's just like I'm in the business of making money. It is since that I am doing running a business. So I still need to negotiate. I will try to push this close to like 60,000, like $55,000 dollars, if anything, honestly. So I will try to push it to like 55, $60,000 like the most. So I'll buy this around 15% cap rate, and that's gonna bring me even more money. So if I buy this at $60,000, it's just like a $10,000 price point of a difference, but it's a 20% discount. Just by making that change, I'm bringing in more money. I'm making 36% of my money just by doing that change as well too. Now, if I want to update the property, so I want to spend the money, the $25,000 that we were talking about. Now I'm putting in more money into like the deal. But now I'm gonna be able to raise up the rent and most likely gonna be able to push it to like 1450. I'll say maybe even 1500. Um, yeah, I'll say actually let's push it to like 1500. Push it up to like 1500. My gross income changed. My expenses changed up because I'm bringing more money in. Um, the property, I'm still buying at a huge cap rate, and it's still gonna be cash flowing me some as well too. Um, because now, but the only thing is, it's going to take me a little bit longer for me to break even on my money, but the property is going to be cash flowing a lot more. It's just my return on the money from that $38,000, I think it said, my $38,800 from my initial investment, which is buying the property with financing it and also putting the extra $25,000 into it, then it's still gonna be cash flowing me a sum. But by the time I break even from that, it's gonna take roughly almost 6 years. But how much is the property gonna be worth in this area in 10 years? The property is definitely gonna be worth a lot more than that 70, what is that, 70, 60,000 plus, so more than $85,000. And the reason it's gonna be thriving in terms of value is because we noticed that there was a lot of new construction homes happening in our area. So the area's thriving, it's expanding, it's growing, it's building. So definitely in 10 years, the property is definitely going to be picking up a great significant amount of value. And especially if I spend those $25,000 in the beginning to like update it, it's definitely going to bring a lot more value. And then 10 years, we can do a refinance if I wanted to, or just do a HELOC, whatever it is I want to do with it, just so I can make some money out of use the money for something else and just constantly repeat that deal over and over and over again. So honestly, this is a great deal overall. It's just an amazing deal that we can definitely get out of it. But it definitely for this area is more of a rental property. Now, if you don't have the money for it as well too, you're like, I don't have the down payment money, I don't have like the repairs, then that's where you can look into like some private lenders. And then usually with private lenders, do I have mine open? I think I do. If I get the private lenders to lend me some money as well too, I can use their money to buy the property. It's both in both of our names, and then seeing how much we can get out of it. How much was it? I need to borrow $38,000. I'll say $50,000 from an investor. Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh, it's on mine. Hey, investor, let me borrow $50,000 at 12% interest rate. Um, so that way I can buy this property in what, 6 months? I think that's the term of it. Whoa, what happened? What's going on here? Oh, let me refresh this. Um, in 6 months is usually that I think you're able to do 6 to 8 months. I think it's like 8 months. In 8 months, and the reason you don't want to ask for like $50,000 is because you want to put, maybe you need some extra money for like the repairs, because again, sometimes you never really know overall with it. But they have equitable interest like on the property on its own, but you use the $50,000 to buy the property and also to rehab the property so that we can bring value. And then if you need to refinance in 8 months, you refinance it in 8 months as well too, because like remember the property is going to be cash flowing you some in the first year. Yeah, so um it's probably going to take 2 months, maybe less than that, honestly, to like fix up the property, to update it, put it on the market. 3 months by the time you rent it out, and then 9 months bring in some cash flow, $1,500 worth of money, or how much are we bringing in? $10,000 or $6,000. So if you borrow $50,000, divided by the 68.90, that's gonna be like in 12 months. Seven, 7 years. It's probably what's going to take you for you to pay back like the loan. But again, in 7 years, how much is the property going to be worth? And not only that, but you don't have to put anything out of your pocket. And again, they're asking for the $50,000. It's not only for the initial investment, but also for the monthly payments because by the time it takes for you to construct the property, the time you get it rented out, it's from the minute you start renting it out, then that's where you're able to put the money back, give the investor back like their money. And then again, over time, you're going to be making like their payments as well too. They can either collect it at the end on how long until you're able to cash them out, or you can make monthly payments as well too, like on this deal. And then you can let them know that, hey, by the time I start making money in terms of like the rental, then that's when I'm going to be able to pay you some. But you got yourself a property with $0 out of your pocket, that's going to be a hell of a deal, especially on a community that is definitely growing, like over here in Alton, Texas. Hey, that's my name is Elton, and I should be looking into this over here as well too. But that's going to be my analysis in terms of like fixing and flipping. We didn't find anything, but buying and holding in this area, definitely really good. Not only we can look into that, but we're looking into a city that and a community that is actually growing and developing. And I just walked through on some simple steps. I'm not going to go into details of it on even how to get like financing for your initial investment, how much rental can we get out of it. And so hopefully you guys are able to learn a good amount of stuff in terms of like analyzing. And like I was mentioning, whenever I analyze like a deal, I just don't analyze it in terms of like, for me, my sakes, I don't just analyze it in terms of just wholesaling. I'll look into a whole different perspective of investors because there's multiple strategies out there. So this is more of a buy and hold strategy for myself, but I'm gonna ask for somebody else for like the money for it, and then in 7 years pay them out, or I can make monthly payments with them as well too. So I have to amortize like the monthly payments, and but zero money came out of my pocket at all whatsoever. So whenever you're just looking into deals and analyzing, just ask yourself, what if it doesn't work for this type of strategy in terms of like wholesaling because the homeowner can't fix and flip it. Can we do like a buy and hold or seller financing? Which seller financing is another thing for buying and holding as well too. It's just you're working with the homeowner directly in terms of terms as well. So if this property happens to get canceled from the with the agent, then that's something else that I can look into. But I'm gonna leave it open for some Q&A. This is that Q&A time. If you have like any specific questions, nothing too crazy that I don't have to go over like full detail because that's gonna be like a whole different topic. But I'll leave it open for some questions. If you guys have some questions in your where's it at? You can drop your questions in the chat, or you're able to unmute yourselves. Where is my oh there it is. How many people we got? One person. Any questions at
Hello?
all?
Hello?
Hi, yes.
Yes, hi. I'm Hutch.
Hi,
I,
Hutch.
I messaged you yesterday. I wasn't able to or the 2 days ago, I wasn't able to get into the meeting.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm new to real estate in general, and I'm trying to figure out ways to like just break in.
Hmm.
And it's been very it seems like the barrier to entry is so high for real estate and stuff. And I found that wholesaling is probably the best way to get in. But there's been some things that have been troubling me with wholesaling. It
Hmm.
like the proof of funds.
Hmm.
And I don't know how to deal with that because I don't have a massive amount of money in my bank account to show as proof to the agents and stuff to be able to get the property under contract and all that. So I was just wondering how do you get around that kind of thing as a beginner?
Yes. So most of the time, I mean, what's the I always like to ask the agent directly, like what are the proof of funds for? Because
Yeah.
are we sending you the agent the money or are we going through title?
Hmm. Yeah, okay.
Because title is the one who handles all the funds at the end of the day. So when it also comes down to like the earnest money deposit as well too.
Hmm.
Additionally, some agents they think the more it is, the more serious you are. Honestly, it's really true, but you can stick to the 1% rule or however much the property's worth. Just put send 1% of that or $1,000, whichever is greater.
Yeah.
Um, but usually for the proof of funds, I just like to ask the agent straight up, like, what do you need the proof of funds for? Like, do they have like a stash of proof of funds from each single person that they're constantly buying from? Like, what's the reason for the proof of funds?
Yeah, okay.
I just like to ask them straight up that. Like I know why they need it. It's just more for like for make sure that you don't back out or anything. I can back out any minute. That's what I'm gonna set up specific contingencies to make sure like the property is at the current condition that it actually is. Because if there's further issues beyond what it's actually that they can't mention every single issue. So I have to do my own due diligence, check out the property or have somebody look into the property myself. So that's the reason, like me sending you the proof of funds, and if I back out of the deal, do I get my proof of funds copy or whatever it is that you have back, or what are you gonna do with that information?
Yeah. Okay.
So I just like to like ask him like what is it for? Because at the end of the day, title is the one who's handled the proof of funds. So what I'll do is like I ask him who's your title company. I'll send them the money, whatever it is I need to wire them over. Because again, title is the one who handles all that. And then from there, they're the ones who are going to handle it. Because I don't like to send agents a proof of funds of anything. If they have like they like the fact of collecting papers or copies or proof of funds of whatever it is. And I've actually done some analysis. We did like an episode where there was a property, I forgot what city or state, but it's on one of my previous lives, and it was a foreclosure property.
Yeah.
I think it was like probate, but they said that they were telling us that the property needs roughly $90,000 worth of repairs, and
Hmm.
that the agent needs the $90,000 worth of a proof of funds for those repairs. What if I don't want to spend $90,000 worth of repairs?
Yeah.
I can get away with 60. Like, what is that going to do for you? So that was part of the contingencies with the on that listing that the agent had was not only we need the money because the property is only worth like 30,000, $20,000, but we need to make sure that you have the $90,000 worth of repairs.
Oh God.
So that's you see how redundant that
Yeah,
is.
that's a bit strange.
So it's like why do agents need the proof of funds at all whatsoever? Because again, the funds are not going through them. The funds are going through title at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
I
I
simply
wouldn't even need proof of
you
funds.
don't need to send them if they're like persistent, like your offer won't be submitted without proof of funds. But I just like tell them, well, send me over, text me over your title company. I'm gonna send them the proof of funds because you don't need the proof of funds at all whatsoever. From besides like the only thing that you need from me is my signature, my name, and my email. Because they're
Okay.
gonna be sending you like the contract, and all you have to do is make sure that the contract it says and or assigns. Because if it's like under your name or your LLC, that's the only thing that you have to want to make sure that it says.
Yeah.
And the only thing they need from you is send me the paperwork. I'm gonna read it, make sure everything is thorough. If it goes, it's depending on the state that you're located, it's a standard purchase agreement from that state. And then from there, it says my name or my LLC and or assigns, purchase price, all my contingencies. And then if the seller already signed, then cool. Now it's my thing that you need from my side. And everything else that it's financially involved in terms of funds is going to get handled through title. So text me over your title company. I'll send them the proof that whatever it is that they need in case I want to do business with them. Or if you allow me to, I have my own title company as well too. Not my own that I own, but the one that I actually like to use on this area, just
Hmm.
because they're more investor friendly and they already know me. They already done some business with me, so it's gonna be a lot smoother. So which one do you want to use? Do you want to use yours or do you want to use mine?
Okay. And when it does get time to do proof of funds with the title company, that would be the cash buyer providing that, right?
That would be the cash buyer. Yeah, that's
Along with the earnest money.
exactly. And then that's where you have
Okay, I see.
your end buyer, because like during that inspection period, you're doing quite a few things. You're getting more details about the picture, aka preparing all the marketing stuff, pictures, details, comps. You can provide the address or just like the city, state, and zip code. So you're getting all those details provided, so that way you can have investors or partners come check out the property, or have somebody from their team check out the property if they can or want to overall, or if they just look at your stuff that you have set up or from all your due diligence that you did, they're like, you know what, I like this deal. I don't care. Just I'll purchase it at your asking price, or whatever it is that you're asking for it. Then from there, you have to ask him, all right, I need a non-refundable earnest money deposit of X amount, depending on how much. If you put in $1,000, you can ask him for $1,500 as well too, or 2,000, or usually a lot of wholesalers do $3,000 to $5,000. So again, it really depends on how much you want to do for it. But usually between that range, $3,000 to $5,000, non-refundable is what they have to send you if they're really serious, and then also their proof of funds as well too. So that way we can send that over to the title company.
Yeah, oh wow. Yeah, because every single YouTube video that I've been watching about wholesaling and stuff,
Hmm.
they always say that you need to have the proof of funds or else the deal will not go through. And I was like, well, how do I deal with that? Because I don't have that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that do like the proof of funds out there. Like I said, that's why step number one is
Yeah.
start step number one, know your market. So analyze, understand the market that you're trying to wholesale, if it's locally or virtually. Get a grasp of how much potential there is on all those properties out there in your market area. And then step number two, start building your list.
Mm-hmm.
Start building a list
Yeah.
of title companies, wholesalers, contractors, inspectors, buyers. You're gonna have different type of buyers: financial buyers, cash buyers, single family buyers, multifamily
Yeah.
buyers, land developers. So you want to start building all that list. So that way, once you have like a property in the contract, it's gonna you already have all the people behind you to make your deal work and move as flow and easy as possible from there.
Okay. Well, you cleared up a lot of things for me.
I'm glad.
Yeah, thank you. Another thing is,
Mhm.
I've been very apprehensive to start because I'm unaware of any potential like legal pitfalls or any financial pitfalls that I may find myself in from wholesaling
Mhm.
because I've never really done anything like this with like contracts and stuff. So it's a bit intimidating.
Yes,
So
it is.
is there anything especially that I should know before like any common things that trap beginners or whatever?
Uh, that trap, no, no, there's
Or
nothing
just
really major. It's just the
yeah.
biggest one is the earnest money deposit.
Yeah.
Because that's like, again, either comes out of your pocket, um for in the beginning. Again, the you can create those contingencies for it with the homeowner as well too, in terms of like, look, we're gonna put 2,000, $3,000 of earnest money deposit, but we're gonna put it on the last day of our inspection period.
Okay.
So we're
Yeah.
not gonna send it out. So we just want to, we're gonna have like our guys come check out the property. It's gonna be different guys because a general contractor, it just looks at generally stuff, but then we have a guy who's specifically on plumbing. We have one who's specifically on electrical, and then we have our general one who's gonna be doing like the walls, the kitchen, all that. So those are three different people that have to come into like the play, or aka your buyers
Yeah, cash
or your
buyers.
partners are gonna be coming into like checking out the property. Um, and usually with that, it takes, they don't have like the same available schedule that, hey, I need you all to show up on Tuesday at 12 p.m. at this address. It just doesn't work like that. They're all going to be coming at different times at all. So
Mhm.
those are all your partners and buyers, whatever, whoever is going to be showing up to like the property. Those are going to be coming in. So I want to make sure that we all get like their feedback. So I want to make sure that I'm going to be sending you the money to the title company, but it's not going to be until the last day. And if you want to cancel out of the contract, then we can cancel it within our inspection period.
Yeah.
Now, after your inspection period, then and you definitely have to send your money in, and that's why you ask your investor or your end buyer for the earnest amount of deposit to be greater than yours because you already put the great amount of risk onto like the property yourself. So you already put if you're telling the seller that you put in $3,000, then you definitely want to get like $4,000, $5,000 from the actual end buyer at all whatsoever. Because if they cancel or they back out of the deal, then now you're gonna be stuck with the property, but you still have until the closing day for you to find another buyer who's gonna be coming in and actually taking over like the property. Or if you happen to be stuck with the property through the entire process because you can't find anybody, then you are able to cancel the contract. But now the thing with the homeowner is like, look, because we already passed the inspection period, and I told you that during the inspection period, I'll be able to get my money back. But now on day 21st, 21st, 22nd, we have to cancel our contract. You get to keep our earnest money deposit, which was $3,000, but then you keep the end buyer's earnest money deposit, which is good depending on if you did 4,000 or $5,000. So you make some money from that. It's nothing too crazy, but at the same time, it's like it just sucks that you didn't get to move on the actual deal itself. That's like the biggest one in terms of that. Once you go through that entire process and everything goes really smooth because again, you have everything set up right behind you. It's just the only thing they have to do is look for properties and get in the contract with the investor. I mean, with the homeowner and the seller, then it's all about just getting in touch with the buyers and then seeing who's interested out there at all whatsoever. And the worst thing is you can cancel out of your contract during your inspection period. But after your inspection period, if there's money EMD that earnest money deposit that got put into it, which was never out of your own pocket, then that's the thing. It was from the actual investor who was actually interested on that deal at all whatsoever. That's
Okay.
like the biggest one
Yeah.
that I know for sure. But everything else of that, it's pretty smooth. It's just you if you have like some contracts already set up. If you don't, I have some on my website. Do I have here, let me put it up real quick. I'll send you the link right now.
Okay.
There's some contracts in there. Pretty much it's all about filling it in. If you happen to be reaching out to homeowners directly, or if you're working with agents. Now with agents, then that's the thing. Everything's going to go with the agents title company and then agents contracts because the agents have their own they're gonna have a what is it, depending on the state, the standard agreement. So if it's California, hey, can you send me a standard California purchase agreement
Yeah.
from California? And they're gonna send you that work. Is here in California, there's more regulations. So they're gonna be sending you probably like a 50 to like 200 page uh purchase agreement. And that's because California is very regulatory in terms of like lead, roof, foundation, chemicals, like
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff comparable to like states like Kansas, Missouri, Alabama, Louisiana, um, in Indiana as well too. It's just like all those other states, you don't need they're not gonna be sending you that crazy amount of paperwork because those states are just they don't require all those regulations at all whatsoever. It's just California, it's just more strict in terms of that. So a lot of the deals from my past, it was just pretty much 12 to 15 pages that I was getting from the agents from the depending on the state, especially on those Midwest states that didn't require all those regulations that California does. But just want to make sure that you're reading like the all those stuff because you are signing as the buyer. But the biggest thing, the very first page of any single contract is going to be saying who's going to be the buyer, if it's your name or your LLC and or assigns. That's the number one thing that you want to make sure it says that you are
Mhm.
able to like assign the deal out of that whatsoever. That's the biggest thing. Step number two. You're probably gonna get some rebuttals if you happen to be working with some agents. Why enter assigns? Are you trying to like wholesale this? Like from time to time. I wholesale, I fix and flip, buy and hold. So it doesn't really matter. And a lot of contracts say there's an assignment clause. We go to a dealership, step I think it's like two or three. There's an assignment on a car dealership contract. So all contracts are assignable whatsoever. So it's not really anything new at all whatsoever. Maybe you want to put it on this LLC, but then you actually want to transfer it to like a trust. That's assignable. That's the reason you want to do that. Maybe it's gonna be under my name, but we're actually gonna be transferring it to
Yeah.
our partners trust or whatever it is. It's just that's the biggest issue or not issue, the biggest arguments that you're gonna have with like an agent.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard about that.
But number one is the earnest money deposit, which
Yeah.
again, you don't have to worry, but you definitely have to prepare. And that's why when I say step number two is gather all your people, all your investors, all your buyers, and you want
Mhm.
to call them partners as well too. Whenever you're talking with a seller or with an agent, let them know, hey, my partner's I, we're gonna check it out, we're gonna do our due diligence, and we're gonna send you X amount of money, but it really has to make sense with them. And then the people that are going to be coming in is going to be partners and also contractors, different types of contractors, because again, we depending on what the property needs as well too.
Okay. And my last question for you would be, since I'm getting started and all, would you happen to know anyone who could like maybe help me out with my first deal? Or maybe even yourself? Like, are there any other wholesalers or people that you know that
Uh,
would be able
Help you
to
out in what
guide me through my first deal or something? Like we could do a joint venture or
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm open to doing a JV deal, at all whatsoever. It just depends like on the property that you have. I'll
yeah.
guide you through like the biggest thing that I can do is I can guide you through like the analysis to make sure that I mean if you already have the property in the contract, then it's gonna be an easy transfer. It's just once you have the property in the contract, hey, I have property on the contract just today, or I have one coming up. The sooner I know, then I can reach out to multiple buyers that I've networked with, virtually and in person as well too, to see who might be interested depending on your market area. So just give me like basic information on what the property will be, or if you like get stuck with something, then you can always message me. Here, let me my here. I'm gonna give you my business email, and then also it's gonna be like on the chat. Oh, there you go. And then also my business email, my business phone number as well too.
Okay.
Let me just take a screenshot of it in a second that you get it from the where did this thing go? Here we go. On the chat right now that you're gonna get it. Um, what's your market area, if you mind me asking?
I'm in California.
Oh, nice. Oh, so you're like me. Oh, you're over here in California
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I read that you were in Long Beach.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in Canyon Country, but I'm